Hello there, this is Ty the Movie Guy, and I just spent the last 3.5 hours watching the highly anticipated Killers of the Flower Moon, my first ever Martin Scorsese theater watch. And with a movie this highly anticipated, I just had to talk about it, especially since Martin Scorsese is one of the longest running directors who's still actually making movies. So let's talk about it. Besides the amazing director of this movie, we also got to talk about the amazing cast of this movie. We have Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio finally working together after a really long time, combined with Martin Scorsese. That is an amazing trinity of people working together. Like, we've had a ton of De Niro movies with Scorsese, we've had a ton of DiCaprio movies with Scorsese, but this is the first time they're all together, and it was amazing to see. This was a great movie to see them working all together. I love that so much. And I went into this movie really expecting a really good performance, specifically from DiCaprio, just because I read that people say this was his best performance. And going through the whole movie, I was like, okay, where's the big performance? Where's the big performance? And then the movie ended. I'm like, oh, okay, where was this his best performance? Like, there was maybe one standout scene that I quite liked, kind of in the middle of the film, that I really dug. But just compare it to movies like Inception and Shutter Island. Those are way better, at least for me personally. My friend says this was his best performance, and he was like totally dissing on Shutter Island and Inception, saying he's just playing himself. You know who you are. Shut the heck up. Those movies are amazing. This one's amazing too. Just Shutter Island and Inception, I love them a lot. I think Inception made me cry, but I don't think Shutter Island made me cry, but it got me close just because of DiCaprio's performance. Like, no parts in this movie moved me to close to tears, mainly because, it wasn't his greatest performance. But yeah, he did a solid job. So did De Niro. I just love seeing them together. And also, he played a very minor role, but I just want to give props to Brendan Fraser, especially since what he's gone through, like when he got like blacklisted and everything. I'm so happy like seeing him in movies again, like The Whale, and then this movie, of course. I'm really sad that Batgirl got canceled just because I wanted to see Brendan Fraser once again. And so I really hope that him playing in like a really high level film like this, or The Whale was really high, but Scorsese is even higher. I really hope him being in a movie like this will really bump him up, and I want to see him in a ton more movies because, yeah, he's just a wholesome guy, and he's a great actor, and I want to see him in more stuff. So just like the couple minutes he had towards the end of the film, he really was amazing in this film too. And also, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, from the trailer, you can obviously tell from the trailer that it's about like Robert De Niro like kind of like manipulating DiCaprio throughout the film, and he certainly does like manipulate DiCaprio throughout the film, but I kind of hoped he would like manipulate him slower, like DiCaprio would be like, no, this is wrong, and then he kind of like progresses and has like character arc, like downhill, kind of getting worse and worse, and like doing nasty stuff. But as you watch the film, he kind of like, he's a pretty bad person from the start. And my counter to this is based off a true story. So Ernest, the real life person, maybe he was actually this bad throughout the whole events of the film. So maybe it's pretty accurate, and he was always like this bad of a person. So for like a plot level of a film, I think I'd prefer him having like a negative character arc, becoming a worse and worse person. But for accuracy's sake, I'm assuming it was accurate that Ernest was this nasty person all along. So it has its plus and minus. Like, they could kind of tweak the real situation to make it more interesting for the film, but I also respect that they chose accuracy as well. And speaking of accuracy and just the whole, thing about like how this is a true story, just the plot in general, it's a really solid plot. Like, the events of this film about all of the indigenous people being murdered over their land and their oil and stuff, it's like terrible stuff, but sometimes that's what makes a compelling film. Like, I'm gonna bring this up again later because I love it so much, but Oppenheimer, it was a dark film, and that's what made it so amazing. And once again, this is very similar, where dark events just they're so compelling and they're so intriguing, and they get you engaged. And yeah, especially when you just think this actually happened, it just makes you think about it more, and it makes you it makes you think about it more, and it just makes it more interesting to watch. Like I like to watch these biopics just to learn something, just one day, so I can like say a random fact to someone and look smart, and they'll say, oh wow, he did research on this. No, I just watched a movie, so, and yeah, I'll look smart. So yeah, I love the basic plot about this movie and how dark and twisted it is. It sucked that it really happened, but it makes a really good movie. And the last thing I want to touch on, of course, is the runtime of this film. And, you know, everyone thought like Oppenheimer is going to be the long 3-hour movie of the year, but then Scorsese's like, no, I'm gonna top you. So yeah, it was really, really long, and I said I was going to compare it to Oppenheimer because it's my favorite movie of the year, so I feel like I have to compare everything to it now. But basically, I think Oppenheimer warrants the 3-hour runtime more. Like, it just, everything about it is just the thought of like the end of the world and stuff like that, and just the score and the suspense and everything. It felt needed to like compress all this information into a 3-hour movie. It felt worth it. But on Killers of the Flower Moon, on the other hand, I feel like you could probably shave off like an hour, make it like 2.5 hours, which is still considerably long movie. You could easily cut that down and still tell the full story basically. But I don't know. I don't want to say I was bored, but I don't know. Got a little slow at times. I definitely feel like you could chop it down an hour or whatever. You don't need every single scene, but I don't know. I still enjoyed it. I think you could get like more people watching it and everything if it was just shorter and more rewatchable. I think it would benefit a lot from being a bit shorter. Just for me personally, just for everyone watching it, they'd probably don't need literally every piece of dialogue as much as Oppenheimer did. You really need all the facts and everything. On this hand, you could shave down an hour and no one would really say, hey, we need more content. I think shaving an hour here and there would have worked out. And also, just a little nitpick thing, I think they need to specify time jumps a little bit more. Like, there were scenes where you kind of just have to infer time has passed. Like, sometimes you'll kind of like guess, like, is this later? And then they'll say like something happened like a couple years ago. It's like, oh, okay. And then of course when like the kids grow up, you obviously know time has passed, but it's like sometimes you have to like infer, and sometimes you have to like infer and then they confirm later, but sometimes you just have to guess and hope you're right. And so yeah, I think a little bit of, I don't know, just saying like either like with text, say like a couple years later, just like telling people would have helped, or just like the characters like mentioning it more to help out the audience. I think that was a little bit I was confused on with certain scenes, like how much time has passed and stuff like that. But that's a pretty minor thing. I think the major problem of this film is just the runtime was kind of long. So yeah, shave down an hour and it probably would have been a better movie. I like it anyways. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. It was a solid movie. I'm so happy it exists. I love Scorsese. I love Robert De Niro. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I love Brendan Fraser. And just, yeah, seeing them all together was amazing. And yeah, it was a good movie. It's not the most accessible movie for everyone. Not everyone's gonna like it, especially like Oppenheimer, which I keep mentioning. It's not gonna be for everyone, but if you're into Scorsese, if you're into serious movies, if you're into just this type of stuff, you will like it. It is a good movie. So yeah, I'd recommend it maybe for at home. That's what my parents are probably gonna do. So maybe wait to watch it at home, to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good movie. 8 out of 10. And that's about it. So farewell.